Hey guys, Nick here with Bishop Lifting. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a little bit different of a product for us. Instead of a rigging product, we're talking about measuring tapes and specifically Spencer tapes and how they're used in logging and timber operations. So stay tuned, we'll get into it. So for those of you that know Bishop Lifting and have for a long time, you might think of Bishop as this Gulf company that's in rigging only, heavy lifts, rigging specialist, and that's very true. However, what you might not know is that Bishop actually does have a Pacific Northwest footprint. In fact, that's where I'm filming from today, up here in Oregon. So we have logging-based companies and shops who cater to logging companies and timber industry folks. And this line of products is one of the more common ones that we sell. So what is a Spencer tape and how is it used? It might look like a similar tape that you're used to, but Spencer tapes are a little bit unique. So on the right of me here, I've got 3 different sizes of what you might call the standard Spencer tapes. These are marked in feet and 1/8 inch increments. And the way these work is you would take this clip and hook it onto your pants, or you might have a logging belt kit or a vest or some other piece of gear that you want to connect this to. Whatever works for you is fine. On the other end, you have the tape that pulls out. And again, this tape is going to be the same on both sides. So again, marked in inches and 1/8 inches. On the end, you have a loop, and this is how they're going to come by default. You have the option when you buy these on our site of adding an end fitting. And what that end fitting will do is allow you to hook the end of the tape, that loop, into the piece of wood, the log, the down piece of timber that you're trying to measure. So let's say you're working on a landing and you need to buck up certain lengths of wood to a given length, or if you're just doing this at your home and you just want to cut wood to a certain length, you hook in this to the end of the wood, and this is on your body, and as you walk, the tape just deploys and pulls out behind you. And then you can just get to the point where you want to cut it, make your mark, cut the wood, whatever you want to do. What I have in my hand is called a release nail. So this is really one of 2 options for securing the loop end of the tape, the end that actually comes out, to the wood. So you have a bent horseshoe nail. You can see that's pre-bent, and that's how it would ship to you. That's a really easy and economical solution in terms of hooking it onto the loop, closing it in a vise, and you're good to go. The release nail is quite a bit more expensive, but it's also a little bit slicker. So some of our customers do prefer that. You can see it has a hinging open and close to it. And it just allows for kind of a nice 90-degree angle as you're trying to hook onto the end of a downed log. So there's also one other type of Spencer tape that we sell quite a bit, and that's a diameter tape. So it's really important to note that the regular Spencer tapes are not for measuring diameter. So we're talking specifically about these part numbers, which would be the 950, the 975, and the 900, also known as 50, 75, and 100 foot tapes. On this side, I have the 950 DC, which is the diameter version. So you're gonna have your length markings on one side, similar to the other tapes. But on the other side, you're gonna have diameter measurements. And this is really meant for wrapping around the tree, lining up the 0 mark with whatever measurement comes out, and identifying the diameter of the tree that way. So this is specifically meant for measuring tree diameter. Now you could measure the diameter of something else too. And again, if you have a hook in this, you can hook it at any point on the tree, simply wrap it around. It makes it a little bit easier. So that's how these are meant to be used, and it's a fairly common mistake with customers that may not be super familiar with Spencer tapes. They order one of these thinking it is a diameter tape, and it's not. You can imagine the disappointment or frustration. So just know that if you need length only, these are a good option for you. If you need to measure diameter as well, stick with the 950 DC. So with the diameter tape, you might be asking, yeah, but how exactly do I use it? So again, for tree diameter measurement. So forestry workers use these tapes to measure the diameter of trees at breast height, which is typically 4.5 feet off the ground. Sometimes these are used to measure tree circumference, and that can be useful when you're trying to assess timber volume. So maybe you're a cruiser or involved in resource management. You could use these tapes for that application. And again, it's a process of wrapping the tape around the tree to get the circumference. And for those of you that are decent with math, you know there's a relationship between diameter and circumference, so you can use one tape to accomplish both things. Additionally, for all these tapes, we have replacement products in stock. And generally speaking, what we're talking about is going to be the replacement blade or the actual yellow tape that comes out. So we do stock those parts. They're also available on our site. There's embedded videos there too that show you how to replace the tape so that you can have housing that's in good shape. If you only need to replace the tape, you don't have to buy a whole new Spencer tape. You can save a little money and do it yourself at home. These tapes are also built with really high quality materials. So you're talking like aircraft grade aluminum on the outside. They're very durable. They are breakable, sure. We have customers who manage to break them, but for the average person and average use cases, if you take care of your equipment, you're not gonna have any problem. These tapes will last you a very long time. We have used them in our shops for different applications, and our guys have been using the same tape for several years. So they will last, you just have to take care of them. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is to overextend the tape. So maybe you need to reach out to 60 feet or 55 feet. You get to the end, you put too much pressure on it and you pull the tape out, at which point you're gonna have to replace the blade. It doesn't mean the whole tape is bad, but you will have to replace the blade if you rip it out of the end. Now again, these tapes are a little bit unique. These are more what we would consider a professional grade product or tool. Typically they're used by industry experts, so if you're not really familiar with how to use one, you can't beat hands-on training. So find somebody you know that is a logger or a forester that has experience with these, let them show you how to use them so that you can put them to work effectively, get the right calculations, and not end up with a mistake on your hands. Now, having said that, we do have videos embedded on the product pages that will give you kind of a brief summary and understanding of how to use these tapes, so be sure to check that out. If you're a do-it-yourselfer and a self-starter and you say, hey, I just want to figure it out, no problem, check out those videos. It's a good way to get started. So if you have general questions about these products, the best way to reach us is to navigate to lifting.com, click on the Contact Us link. We do have a form there that you can fill out. Alternatively, you can contact the e-commerce team directly at 1-800-442-7454. We're always here and happy to help. If you found this video helpful, guys, please give it a like, leave a comment, share the video. We certainly appreciate the interaction. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.